Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast. Every successful online business entrepreneur has an incredible story to share about their journey to success. Listen and learn from top digital mavericks and online business insiders as they share their secrets so you can live the lifestyle you deserve. Your pilots for today's journey, Rob Fortney and Nick Nimmin. Welcome aboard, passengers. The Digital Journey begins now.
Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating your online business voyage. I'm Rob Fortney from the Amazon Gorillas, and this is my partner, Nick Nimmin. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Rob. Thank you very much. And I would like to welcome everybody that's listening to this show right now to podcast episode number 4. Today, we're going to talk to a brand new online and location independent entrepreneur, Steve Riggerio. He has been location independent now for the last 6 months. Steve, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Well, we like that because I think we want to get the process of letting people who just started this. Everybody doesn't have to be a millionaire or making money or doing it, and your story is going to be totally interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes the more experienced guys forget some of the simplest things that blow people's minds away.
I always tell people in the Amazon business, the guy that knows the most is the guy that just completed the step ahead of you. Because he just did. He has the freshest information. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the podcast, and we like to just give you new listeners. And we want to welcome you if you're a new listener or you've been listening. We thank you very much. So the Digital Journey is hopefully going to give you the knowledge you need to change your current lifestyle by owning an online business. We're going to hopefully get you some actionable step-by-step tips and strategies to start or purchase a legitimate online business. The podcast is going to feature in-depth interviews with successful online entrepreneurs who've been exactly in the shoes that you're in right now. So hopefully you get some great inspiration out of the show, and it excels you to be able to start your online business journey. We're going to give you the knowledge so that you can live the lifestyle you deserve. And that's the most important, and do what you want to do.
Yeah, that's extremely important. You know, getting things to the point to where you can do what you want to do. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day, that freedom. It doesn't matter if you are wanting time to spend with your kids, if you're wanting time to, travel the world, or if you're just wanting to sit in a hammock somewhere and not do, as much as you possibly can, just kind of take it easy. That's what is important, is getting to the point of that freedom. The Digital Journey Podcast is brought to you by the Empire Flippers. They help you buy and sell websites, quality websites, and online businesses. They take the friction out of buying and selling your website. Their buyers and sellers span the globe, and they have fine-tuned their process and team to ensure that you have a safe, secure buying and selling experience.
Did you know that Empire Flippers is actually an Inc. 500 company and the number one curated marketplace for buying and selling established, profitable online businesses.
And if you want to know more about Empire Flippers, you can check out their website at empireflippers.com. So today I'd like to welcome Steve to the show again. And Steve, let's dive into your story. What is your backstory? What kind of got you started on the path of, being a digital entrepreneur?
Yeah, so right before I moved to Chiang Mai and started the digital the online business journey, the digital journey, thank you, I was actually a bar owner. So I owned a bar and restaurant in Illinois, which burned down. I lost it due to arson.
Now, wait a second.
Yeah, let's back this story up a little bit. Who did you upset in order to have your place burned to the ground?
Your last name's Riggerio. I'm just saying, what happened there?
Everyone always assumes that, I pissed someone off. No, truly, it was my most trusted employee. He was on drugs. He was drunk. He won a bunch of money gambling that night and then lost it all and stole the money out of the safe at my bar and went gambling with that. I truly believe he wasn't trying to screw me over. I truly believe he thought he was going to win it back and then replace the money. But he lost it all and came back at about 5 a.m. and poured 130 pounds of fryer oil over the bar, carpet, kitchen, everywhere, and set it on fire.
Should have used diesel fuel or something besides vegetable oil.
He, as an expectorant, fryer oil has a flash temp point of 700 degrees, so it didn't start the fire till 6 hours later. Anyway, he was on video doing it, and is currently serving time in jail.
Oh, wow. So that night of gambling, definitely he did not win.
No.
That night. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he definitely should have folded early.
He turned a win into a loss. That's what's called not knowing when to quit. Being ahead and not knowing when to quit.
Absolutely. So continue on with your journey.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty. I mean, that was a really dark time because my insurance company refused to pay me any loss of business insurance. I'm still fighting with them over getting any kind of compensation for the property that I lost in that. And I'm sure I'll get something someday, but for now I've written it off. It's like one of those far off, dreams. While one insurance, my landlord's insurance company is arguing with my insurance company on who's going to get paid out, right? Yeah. So we'll figure that out eventually. Basically, I didn't want to get a job. I wanted to stay in business. I hadn't had a job since 2009, and I wanted to start my own business again. But this time, I didn't want employees to deal with.
I think it's super important because I think your background prior to that, and I know a little bit about it. Tell it I think your military school, and I know you did some things like that in the past. Share that before you get into the, where you're currently.
Yeah,
at, that's a great background.
If we're going all the way back there, well,
I don't want to know what you did in high school, but you
sure.
went to some pretty impressive schools. You did some cool stuff.
Well, I graduated from West Point in 2002 and went straight to Iraq. Basically, after graduation, served 2 tours in Iraq.
Go military.
Yeah, right. Go Army. And I love the Army, but at some point, it wasn't for me. I got out in 2008 after 6 years of active duty service as an officer, and immediately got a corporate job with Walmart and was in training to become a store manager. And I quit in the training program because I just hated it. Didn't want to do it anymore. And I've always had this bug. I knew I grew up around entrepreneurs. Like my grandfather owned an Italian restaurant. My aunt Cookie owned a dog grooming shop. My uncle owned Warrenville Refrigeration where I grew up. So my whole family is full of small business owners, and I've always felt drawn to that. And eventually I was a general manager for a Korean karaoke bar in Chicago and saved up enough money to buy my own bar.
A Korean karaoke bar.
Yeah, they call it a noribang.
The reason I like to always have you tell the West Point deal is because you look like you're a mountain Jack guy. So if you're listening on a podcast,
you're building credibility, is what you're doing,
right? Because Steve's got a very long beard, and people give him some grief on his YouTube channel, which we'll get into here in a minute. Yeah. But I wanted to know that this is a smart, solid guy who has. Well, it's funny, done some great stuff.
When I decided to go to West Point, I thought that I knew at the time I felt like I was taking the easy way out. And I think the reason is that there's like this path that we put in front of our kids, go to school, get good grades, go to good college, get a good job, and then work the rest of your life for someone else. And if you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, kind of turns the paradigm on its head, thinking, you've got to be an investor and a business owner to do that. And I hadn't read it at that point, but I felt like I was taking the easy way out. I was good at school, and achievement came naturally to me. I succeeded at everything I tried, but I felt like I was taking the easy way out by going to a school and getting this job. And really, I feel like the entrepreneurs, the ones that go out there and make something out of nothing, those are the real visionaries. Those are, and that's what I want it to be. So I'm working on it now.
Nice.
I'm still trying to become, what I, in my mind, is like the hero,
What is that? Paint that picture for us. And in your mind, what is it at the end of your road, so to speak, when you say, okay, I've done what I've set out to do? What does that look like?
Sure. For me, it's about having enough money to be free to choose and do what I want to do. And what I want to do is I want to take care of my family. I've got 2 sisters alive. I lost one sister, but I've got a bunch of nieces and nephews. I want to have a family one day, but I want to make sure that that I can provide for my family and provide for my nieces and nephews and everyone. I want to be someone that they can look up to.
What you summed it up with, I want to be someone they can look up to. Super powerful.
So I think one of the things that for a new guy, and I think those guys that are out there or gals, I say guys, and I don't mean to be that way. People. So the people that are out there, and you're thinking about doing this, because that's a whole lot of what the show is. The journey is you may be on another port, or you may actually be in your business, and there's things hopefully you're going to keep picking up from the show about things you can do in places. So I think it's for everybody who's in the entrepreneur online business. But how did you decide what business to start?
Yeah, great question. One answer, YouTube. So I was literally consuming.
There's a theme there, bro.
Yeah, there's a theme with every show. YouTube keeps coming up where people are going to YouTube for information. They're starting stuff from YouTube. They're getting inspired by YouTube. It's
YouTube.
It's amazing.
I'm not surprised at all. I find it to be a wealth of information, and it's in a way that's you take what you see with you try to judge it on its own merit. People are talking from their heart or from their own experience, so you try to piece together the puzzle, based on what you're getting. But a lot of time, that's more valuable than just some. I don't know. To me, I like to hear people's experience, right? Sure. So I actually became aware of the community in Chiang Mai and the digital nomad lifestyle when I was still a business owner, and I didn't think that was something I would ever be able to pursue in the near future, but I was like, that's something I would do. Like I've always considered myself adventurous and entrepreneurial at heart. So yeah, that's why I started watching YouTube videos, and from that I determined that probably the best one for me to start with would be Amazon FBA. And the reason that I thought about that is because it seemed like as long as you had a little bit of money to startup capital, to invest in your product, it was faster to learn those things. Whereas with dropshipping, which is a great way to make money,
Absolutely.
And a lot of successful entrepreneurs have dropshipping companies. You need less startup capital, but you need more knowledge of how to drive traffic and understand marketing better. So my goal was never to end with FBA. It was to start with Amazon FBA, and then use that as the rest of that time to learn other skills and branch out into other e-commerce businesses.
I know a lot about your story, and it's the most fantastic. I love your story, Steve. So I'm going to ask this question. I ask a lot of people, did you have any mentors? And that's going to lead us to the beginning of the story, because it's my favorite story ever. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, Rob,
how did you get here then?
Okay, how did I arrive?
Start there. How did you arrive on your day? So at some point you said, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I've lost my bar. Things are in a twizzy. Yeah. Life is looking
the
horrible.
last thing I did was testify as a witness against the guy who burned my place down, and then submitted my recommendation for sentencing,
right.
And then I was just like, you know what, whatever, the past is the past, and I'm moving forward. And I actually came to visit Chiang Mai first, prior to that, and just to see for myself, because I didn't want to move here blind. And I spent 2 weeks, 1 week in Bangkok, 1 week in Chiang Mai, and then decided to move to Chiang Mai, and I moved here January 1st, 2017. I came here and enrolled in a course called the Digital Nomad Campus, which was run by the now infamous Digital Nomad Campus. The whole concept of the Digital Nomad Campus was they brought aspiring entrepreneurs to Chiang Mai, or some guys who were already in Chiang Mai that wanted to take that path, and put them in front of subject matter experts in various different areas of e-commerce.
Nice.
And we also had mastermind sessions and challenges and all kinds of. They put together a really great course, and probably the most valuable thing out of that I got, more valuable than the information, was the connection with the other 4 members of that first class. There were 5 of us total, and to this day we're still business partners.
We're going to tell that story because that's even better.
It's
keep going down
great.
the path, because the story is we don't have to ask you because your story is amazing. So all right, so you got here, you joined this deal. And as I understand, these guys, you're working in class with them, and that's how we met, because they asked me to be a part and talk, and so I do a lot of speaking, and I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs and stuff here, so they asked me to come talk to you guys. I'm like, okay, and so I did, and then what happened? So we don't have to go into so much detail, because that's probably the longest part. But.
Right. So essentially, they had kind of positioned themselves. They really had. I mean, in my mind, they really hadn't positioned themselves as experts in e-commerce or anything.
Basically, they got kind of run out of town.
Yep. 100%.
So here's this group of 6 guys who
there were 5 of us at the time.
Okay,
yeah.
so a group of 5 guys who had started this, paid a little bit of money. It was like $300.
We
wasn't
paid
even that much
$300 each.
Right.
Yeah.
So $300, you got more than that. Like, you got 5 million times that value, and that comes back to taking the jump and just coming here, or going and starting a business. It's the same. Start it, and then it'll work out. So, here he is. He's in here. He came here to do this, and these guys are gone. They hadn't completed the course yet. So the course is over. So they're gone. What happens then?
Well, first thing, we were like, all right, hey, if they're gone, we're still going to keep this course going. We're going to talk to the guys that were still on the schedule to meet with us and everything. But that day, actually, we were sitting with you, and you had agreed. You actually met with us extra because you thought that we were smart, we had something going on, and that you agreed to work with us extra. And we were very excited about starting an FBA. None of us, well, not all of us together. So I had already decided I wanted to do FBA, but not everyone of the 5 wanted to do that. But we all actually decided when you spoke to us that was something we all wanted to do together. And you said, you know, I'll work with you guys. That day that they left town, you were there, and you felt bad that we were kind of left high and dry, you know. And you said, you know what, guys, I'll tell you what, you can come work with me, and like kind of as interns. I'll find you a way to make some money. I don't know how yet, but we'll make it happen. And learn from me, work with me, and we'll do something. I'm not just going to let you guys, you know, because who knows if something like that happens, maybe a guy gets so disappointed that he leaves or quits on his dream, right?
Yeah, the fire gets extinguished.
Exactly,
yeah.
Right? Well, not even a week later, a future client approached Rob and said, hey, I've got this project that I'd like you to manage I have a business already. I'm selling these, this product, and I want you to manage our Amazon FBA store. And he's like, you know what? I normally would never accept this kind of a deal because I don't need to work like a client. I don't need to do client work, but I happen to have a team, and I can under my guidance, they can do something great for you. So we sat down in negotiations. We put together a proposal, and they hired us. They hired you, Rob, but they hired us as a team.
Absolutely. It was these guys' presentation because they all had knowledge. And, we didn't present them that they were experts. We presented they all had their own special set of skills. And,
right.
Nice.
And so that's how it began. And that was really, talk about getting thrown, head first into, I got submerged into the world of FBA very quickly. Here I was, there's a big company with a very competitive product that normally we would never get our hands on underneath the hood with. And I have to learn everything about, back-end algorithms and, keywords and search terms and pay-per-click PPC. So that's
and that was one of the things that was key to me. I didn't just want to make them. I didn't just want to do everything. Like I didn't go, hey, I need you to go. I would go, here's where you can get the knowledge. Here's what I need you to do, and go do it. And then they would report back to me, and I was able to kind of keep them back on the path if they were open. But like it didn't no good if I just showed them. Like so now he's learned, or the whole group has learned because they actually did it and were able to figure it out on their own and gain real knowledge.
Yeah, and at the same time, we were putting together our own products for FBA, and this. Working for this client gave us invaluable knowledge to jumpstart our own FBA business, and at the same time pay all of my expenses. So I was actually, thanks to this client work, able to pay all of my expenses in Chiang Mai the second month I arrived.
Nice.
Which, FBA, starting with FBA, you're not usually going to get money back that quick, but it was just this unique set of circumstances. That's why I say I was very fortunate and lucky. I don't expect anyone to. You shouldn't come here expecting to be paying all your bills in 1 month.
Yeah, you definitely have to create a cushion of some type so
Absolutely.
that you have something to lean on. Because if you start freaking out, then that takes up your mental space, yes. And then if that mental space is taken up, then you don't have the mental capacity to see everything through and to actually learn more and get everything done because you're too worried about things going downhill.
Yeah, and I'm a super conservative guy. Financially, which you may or may not have.
Oh yeah, totally aware of that.
Steve,
but I actually came prepared to go for an entire year without making a single dollar. Like if it takes me, even if I have to sit here for a year and work, like I can do it. And at the end of the year, I'll make a decision: do I want to stay or do I want to go? But I was prepared for that. Didn't mind, I didn't mind putting the time in to learn, but just happened to make money a lot sooner than I expected. Which is great.
So you're making money. The other guys are making some money. And this group of guys, Nick, is there's 18-year-old kids in there.
Yeah. Well, 19-year-old. There's one 19-year-old.
Right.
A couple that is 21-year-old.
People from all over the world: Germany, France. So this
Thailand.
Unbelievable eclectic group of guys. And so, what they don't know is they're inspiring me as they do this, and I'm just so excited. I'm literally for that first 30 days, I met with you guys every day. I went and worked with them every day. We had this little co-working space we basically took over.
We got to say this. So that was literally our first, working together. We overtook this back room of a coffee shop that were nice enough to let us reserve it every single day. And we'd come in, we'd buy our coffee, buy our smoothie, buy our tea, whatever, and work there 12 plus hours a day, 7 days a week.
And when I mean work, they worked like the entire time. There was no goofing off. I mean, they would get there and work 12 hours a day, just digging and digging.
Yeah, and that was a challenging time because it was just demanding hours and and we were
got
all
worn
on
out
fire.
there at the end. We were just living with each other. It was like living with 5 new roommates. But
sure,
yeah, and the other thing is the internet there wasn't the best. If there were a lot of people at the coffee shop that day, it would be real slow. Sometimes it just would be off for whatever reason. And then, believe it or not, the cost of a coffee a day adds up to quite a lot, So it was like, wouldn't it be more cost efficient if we all had a place that we could all work together and have super fast internet and not have to worry about these distractions and, a little bit more comfortable? So we started looking for a house, and that was a tall order.
It was a tall order because we needed a 5-bedroom house or a big house that you could go out. And my thought process was we can create this digital campus. I really wish they wouldn't have burned that name up because I love the name.
Yeah,
digital
it's a great
campus.
name.
It's a great name.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
fantastic name.
but we got to wait a year or two and we'll bring that back out. But anyway, so we were looking for this house. And there was just, what was the possibility? Because everybody, and we'll get into Thrifty Steve here in a minute, a house with 5 bedrooms and, in Chiang Mai, even though stuff's cheap, but this is, we were looking for a house that they all could live in. And we were looking, but I think there's a catalyst because I just did this this morning.
I was about to say.
Yeah, so let's talk about the catalyst that got us to the house.
In my mind, there's one key moment that kind of changed everything, and that was this. Rob, you came up with this idea. You're like, you know what we're going to do before we launch our big project? We're going to have a lucky day. And we'd already been working together for a couple weeks at this point. And what the heck's a lucky day? It's like, well, we're just going to go ask the universe to shine their luck upon us. And whatever that looks like. So we're going to go to all the Buddhist temples. We're going to go to a Mormon temple. We're going to go to a Catholic cathedral, and we're going to go and do some cool stuff. Go rub a lucky bowling ball that I threw 3 strikes with. You know what I mean? Just whatever
anything
crazy.
Lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that has to do with luck.
Lucky.
Yeah,
we're going to do. We're going to throw salt over our shoulder.
We're going to get some birds and release them into the wild, which is like a Buddhist tradition. It's like we literally did all that stuff.
20 or 25 things that day. We started out at 10 a.m. with breakfast, and we ended up watching sunset up on the top of Doi Satep. So
Nice.
It was this incredible day. And one of the things that was so shocking with these guys were, here's these group of young guys. Now, you're obviously the oldest one in the group, but you're 30.
I'm 37.
All right, so there's guys from 18 to 37. And so I didn't know how they were going to approach this thing, whether they were going to be serious about this or think it was cheesy. I just knew that I had some guys that were totally serious. I mean, they were so impressive. And so I thought, well, we're just going to go try to find as many places you can. So I met these Mormon missionary kids here. And I'm not saying that any of this to me, I didn't know how they were going to feel religiously because it really wasn't about that. It was just about getting good feelings in your deal. So the first place we started out was this Mormon church. And we get into this Mormon church, and there's these Mormon missionary kids there. And at some point, we asked them, well, hey, would you guys pray for us and offer us blessings or something?
And they did. And they loved it. It was great.
And when you heard their little prayer that they did for us, it was amazing. It was so on point. We want you guys to work together and prosper and and
wonderful.
then we left there, and then where did we go after that?
Some Chinese Buddhist temple, right. And we
shook sticks and lit candles. And
yeah.
This morning I went back and did it again today. So we did it again today, and because I figured it was 6 months, had the greatest 6 months of my life. Why not do it again?
Sure.
So Steve and I actually went and did it again today. But you shake these sticks and you go at that Chinese temple.
You get your fortune.
Right. You just do all these things. And then we went to the Catholic church.
Yes.
Which you grew up in a Catholic church.
I did, yes.
And
I actually took Latin for 4 years in high school.
Right. So he goes in there and he does, we all kneel and he prays in Latin that day.
Nice.
We light the candles. We get the water, do the crosses. I mean, and one of the things I wanted to make sure was it was respectful.
Sure.
We weren't there trying to mock anybody.
Right.
We just thought, if you want to pray for us or give us blessings, we're in.
We'll take all the luck that you can
all
send
the
our
luck
way.
that we can, and it was that intention that we were putting that in the universe. So ultimately, we went to multiple places and shook sticks and lit candles and poured oil.
There's Hindu gods in the.
That's
in that,
right.
They're like all golden Hindu gods out here, this one plaza. It was
Right.
incredible. And you spun a ball on one of them, and it landed on 7.
Right.
That was
And so
perfect.
today was 7/7/17. My lucky number today ended up being 7. So
When you shook the sticks,
yeah, when I
7
shook
came
the
out.
sticks today, I had my fortune. And anyway, again, all of these things, we got a blessing today from a monk. We call it lucky, lucky, lucky. He takes this water and you close your eyes and he splashes on you and whatever. And anyway, again, it was just about us deal. But these guys, and I call them kids, but they were so like respectful of it. Like everyone, there was no like chuckle or any weirdness to it. Everyone was so serious, and it was an incredible, probably one of the biggest bonding experiences I've ever had with a group of guys.
Yeah, and my sister sent Reiki healing,
that's right.
energy healing.
Right.
You know, she's a Reiki level 2 healer. She sent energy healing from Arizona to us.
Right.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was just an amazing, magical day. And not long after that, like a couple days later, out of the blue,
I call you up and
This-
I'm like, I
yeah.
found this house.
yeah, your real estate agent found this house in a neighborhood in the nicest, or I should say most expensive at least, but like central location in Chiang Mai for digital entrepreneurs anyway.
Yeah.
Neiman Road. And it's in this quiet neighborhood that no one knew existed, right off in the main part next to this huge shopping mall. It was literally the most perfect place, and the price was way lower than you could have expected.
It's like $800 or $900 a month for this like teakwood house with teakwood, and no one had been in it for a year. No one actually had lived in it for a year.
The landlord is a professor at Chiang Mai University, and he had refused to rent it to several people throughout the years, and liked us for some reason. So
lucky day started with that.
Nice.
And so let's sum up the house real quick. So what ultimately happened is these guys moved in, and now what they've done is they have 5 guys living in there in all the bedrooms, and then they have another 6 to 8 guys that come over and work with them. So we've really created a digital campus where people here are working together. Now, tell us about
you know how many guys have come to the house and seen it and said to me, they said, I've had this dream for a while. I've just never seen anyone do it. Like, we actually have a house where we work and live together and then have others come join us, and we're surrounded by like-minded, entrepreneurial-minded, really motivated people.
I can't even imagine the brainstorming that's going on in that place and
It's
the
incredible.
the ideas that come out of that.
I can tell you this, the problem is you go, not a problem, you go over there and like there's everybody working. There's literally no BS crap going on there. You know what I mean? Like they're not partying. One of the things I told them, I said, guys, like, you can't get in here and turn this into a frat house. This is not and they don't. I mean, like you go in there and there's nobody goes in there, and like it's like going to university. You go to class, you work on your business. They may have meetings and they share and stuff, but so so let's talk about the businesses that you guys have now started. Let's talk about everybody's in the house. Let's talk about your business, because I think that's important to this, because that's our journey right now.
So yeah, the whole idea with us forming a team for FBA was that we could pool our money together, and instead of getting one FBA product, we could launch 6 FBA products. And we each kind of have our own skills that we bring to the table. Like I'm more of a back-end algorithm guy. We've got another guy that learned a lot about Facebook ads. We've got another guy who actually worked in this kind of work before, and he's good with sourcing from Chinese manufacturers. There's all different skill sets, PPC and stuff that we've kind of focused on. And we divide up the tasks, and we do it that way and split everything evenly. So
you guys, because some of this I'm not keen on what actually happened.
Yeah,
but
sure.
You guys basically all put money in together, right? Like
Correct.
You guys took all your pool of assets. Instead of having one shot at winning, they basically put all their deal in, and they're launching multiple products. Right.
So we have about 6 products, in different stages. 2 products are currently in Amazon right now. Another one, we just got the final prototype. This one, they messed up the prototype so many times, and
Tenacity.
You got to stay. Oh man, there's so many things that could derail your business, right? But
let's if you don't mind, let's talk about that for a second. Like for me, because I'm not in the FBA space, so that's something of interest to me as far as when you are having some of this stuff made and you are getting prototypes and things like that. Is that a common thing that people run into in the FBA space?
Yeah, you have to be. Look, you have to really be able to say no and to be strong about what you believe. You have to have a vision for what you want. So, a lot of people mistakenly believe, and a lot of people maybe do FBA like this, where they just see a product, on Alibaba.com, and they'll just say, "Oh, I'm just going to buy that and sell it," and that's a really, that might work, but it's kind of a lazy way to do it. If you want a viable business, that you can sell later on, you want to look at a product, discover pain points on the existing product, develop some new features, and find a manufacturer that can implement those features. And we've taken the time to actually brand our products before we even launch them, which you don't even necessarily need to do that. You might want to launch it first and then see how it sells before you invest that time doing it. But we've believed in these products so much that we've branded them, and we're actually creating something that we believe in. It's better than just getting something random and throwing it in there.
Sure, sure, that makes total sense. So with that struggle with getting those prototypes, how many different prototypes did you have to go through in order to actually get one that worked? And was there anything that you did to communicate what you wanted more, or was it just the manufacturer being difficult, or where was the disconnect as far as
two of our products in particular had challenges with prototypes. One of them, we violated one of our rules and it's like 6 pieces, and we really shouldn't have a product that has multiple pieces. But we thought it was so simple. I mean, it's one material, right? Like you're talking about one material.
You didn't pay attention to that day I talked about that, did you?
Well, it's one of those things where you take a risk. You take a calculated risk. Well, let me tell you, we were surprised to see how much can get messed up that you wouldn't even expect. The first prototype showed up broken, and like so many things were wrong with it. Not just the broken part. Like things were the wrong size. Things didn't fit. Ridiculous.
And I guess if it shows up broken, then that tells you, hey, if this stuff gets shipped out, then there's a really good chance that that it could be a mess by the time it gets to everybody on the other end.
Well, you think about one product. Imagine getting 1,000 products, and what is the percentage of products that are going to be broken? You know what I mean? That takes a bite out of your bottom line. So you have to be really, really firm and insist on the highest quality when you're dealing with these Chinese manufacturers. You can't compromise on things like that. You have to get it right, and that involves a lot of communication. We're talking not just like talking to them and typing to them, but doing videos of what needs to be improved, extensive pictures with like infographics pointing to what needs to be fixed, and insist. We had the last prototype that just finally did. The last thing they sent to us, everything was right except the things were too firm to like fit in the right way. Okay, and we told them, and we made them live stream video us of them checking like 20 of them in a row, like where they all fit in all the slots. And like we're watching this in China, from China, them doing this. And if your manufacturer is worth dealing with, they will go through the pains of working with you through this. So that's we actually started working on that product in February, and here we are in July. We still don't have it in, but that's just every product has its own path. Not everything's going to be just a wham bam slam dunk.
But now, so I know you're working on some other business as well, and I know the other guys in the house have other businesses that they're working on too. So just give us a little bit of share what other people are doing, because it isn't just the Amazon FBA stuff. Yeah. Now, what we didn't talk about is one of the goals of this thing. In the end, is they got this partnership is to grow this business between 12 and 14 months, and guess what? Turn that business and flip it. And so the idea is that Empire Flippers, at the end, they take it, they develop the business, they make a profit, they sell the business, and then everybody gets their share. And so that's the whole goal of this thing, and that's why they've started this thing.
And each product is its own business. Right. So, and they'll be launched at different months. They'll have different, revenues and whatever, but eventually we'll be able to sell each of those products if all goes well.
Or as a group.
Or as a package, correct? Right. Yeah. Actually, 2 of our products are the same brand right now because they're both related, and we might grow to more products after that. So, who knows?
I just had a buddy take his, and he turned in 16 months. He made about $100,000 in his product, and he just sold his business with Empire Flippers for almost $300,000.
Nice.
In 14 months, he went from about a $10,000 investment to making, it was about $400,000 in like 14 or 15 months.
Incredible.
So that's incredible. So what other kind of businesses are the guys in the house doing?
A really popular one amongst the guys is Kindle ebook publishing, which they sell on Amazon. You look up a niche that sells on Kindle ebook. You have a ghostwriter write the book for you, edit, whatever, and then you actually launch it as a digital product. The good news about that is once you put your initial investment in, you're not spending any money on re-upping your inventory. So it's just you can just sell it ad infinitum, as they say in Latin.
Where do you go about finding a ghostwriter in a situation like that for somebody that's interested in getting into the Kindle side of things? Where do you? I mean, is that something that you would find on Fiverr, or do you have to go to Upwork?
Allow me to plug a friend of mine, Delphin Mavoro's website, hotghostwriter.com. If you really don't know where to start, and you just want to get something done, go there, because he actually has curated a number of ghostwriters and editors. And for, I believe, I'm not even going to mention the price. Go on the website and see. But he can do the whole writing and editing process for you, and you can be guaranteed a good product.
Nice.
Good quality product.
And we actually have
Great
Delphin, Nick. We have Delphin scheduled to come be on the podcast. So we're actually
fantastic!
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, yeah, good.
because he makes a lot of money every month doing
Yeah.
Kindle, not through his ghostwriting, because he has these ghostwriters, but like through his actual Kindle Publishing company.
Sure, I'm guessing if you have a ghostwriting service, you're probably pumping out books like crazy.
Absolutely. Now, if you have more time and effort to put into something, and you want to save a little bit of money, you can start looking for your own writers on Fiverr, and you can find them. But be aware that you will be going through the curating process, just like Delphim and his team did. Initially, there's trial and error. You're going to get guys that don't write well, and So once again,
I know you wanted to say don't write good.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did.
But
Yeah,
you notice.
Yeah,
you
noticed
notice how I made sure I was grammatically correct.
Yeah.
Don't write good. Well, we're used to being around in a place where native English isn't spoken, so we kind of get caught up in the language that's kind of changed here a lot.
But how ironic if I had said,
Yeah.
you're right.
Write good.
You don't want guys who don't write good.
Yeah, exactly. And I know some guys in the house. There's some people working on affiliate. There's some drop shipping guys.
Yep.
I mean, all of these businesses that we talk about, getting yourself in a legitimate, real deal business, which is important, guys. I know we talk about this on the other shows we talked about, is don't be trying to get in these, like, you're going to have to build a business, starts out making $1,000, $2,000, and just keep working your way up. I know one of the guys in the house, Dan, he told me the other day, he's got his book up. He's already making money. He's doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing is, once you get your Kindle ebook publishing, you can actually, there's another way to get it made hard copies.
Right, yes.
So
my buddy just started, another guy here in town. He's only making $1,000 a month in the first 90 days.
Wow.
So again, that's a lot. I mean, that's not a ton of money, but $1,000 a month supports you here. Or supports you in a lot of places in the world, or it pays your car payment, your rent, and your house note on the side while you have a regular job as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I would never throw it away, because it all adds up, right? So you don't want to have the mindset of, if you have the mindset, I'm going to make $2,000 on this product, and then you end up only making $300 a month, why would you throw that away?
I had a client, or a girl that was wanting to work with me, and she came to me and she goes, yeah, I was working at a dropshipping store, and I was only making $300 a month. And I'm like, and the problem was, they told me I was going to make $10,000 a month, so I quit. And I'm like, wait, let me just back this up for you. So, like, right now, if you had an extra $300 a month and you could pay your cell phone bill and your electricity bill and, whatever other small things, you go to the grocery store, got to eat twice a month, I mean, what would you do with that? Well, I'd use it. Well, you just gave that up. So we get the concept. I think it's super important to know what a win is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you winning or not? And you really have to define that. I think it's probably the most important thing. What is a win? I often ask myself here, because you become more peaceful as you get this peace in your life and that freedom. And we talked about this last show, but I'm going to the beach for like the third or fourth. At the end of the month, I got to go again. So the 4 times I've had to go to the beaches, and the greatest beaches in the world, but several of them for work. And not that I'm not enjoying it. I'm like, I got to go back to the beach again next week. Is that the biggest problem you got, Rob? You guys are all laughing and giggling at like, oh, big problem, Rob. But again.
At the end of the day, you're winning.
I'm winning. That's a win.
Yeah.
And so I keep trying to say I'm not going to complain about that. But anyway, so that's kind of that part of that freedom. Okay, so this is the part of the segment in the show where we try to get some information that people can use. So what tools are in your toolbox right now? Like, what media is influencing you? Blogs, posts, people, mentors, any software you might be using, and things like that in your business. So let's start out with media. What media are you consuming?
Well, really, I watch a lot of YouTube.
There's the theme again. Every show we do. So listen, if you're out there listening and you're listening to this on YouTube, you're in the right place, because information. I mean, look how quality the information we give here.
Let me tell you, the most valuable thing that I've watched in the last 6 months was this one morning. there was an Amazon Gorillas live stream where they talked about the brand new algorithm. Because what happens is our business in Amazon always changes, and Amazon changed the algorithm in the middle of April to where keywords were no longer getting indexed the same way. And I don't want to go into explaining a whole bunch about it, but really what it meant is you had to change your whole back end if you wanted to be optimized and show up in search results. And there's no way to find that out because Amazon doesn't publish a disclaimer saying, hey, this is what the new thing is. If you want to show up at the top of the search results, you need to move your information from here to here and do this way and use commas or not use commas. They don't give you any kind of thing like that. The only way you find out is, people or companies that have a lot of money, they're able to test and run all kinds of different scenarios and actually determine what works and what doesn't. And Asmazo Software, the guy who runs Asmazo Software was on that podcast, and it was a live stream. Webinar. And man, that was huge because we gotten punched in the throat. We were doing the client work, and suddenly all of our our rankings dropped. We didn't know what was going on, and that helped me. And that helped me solidify myself as an expert. Like I felt like, man, if I have this kind of inside information, then I can be at the top of my game, and I can provide a good service to my teammates.
I think that's right there. I think that teammate thing, and I know that it matters in my business, is that if you can get yourself surrounded, I mean, Tim Ferriss talks about the 4 people in your life that they influence your whole life, and getting yourself surrounded with other people with like-minded, because the problem is your family, your friends don't understand the opportunity that you have in front of you, so they're going to give you negative. People are going to tell you you're crazy. I mean, my mom still thinks I live in a hut in the forest somewhere. She asked me, I swear to God, about a month and a half ago, I've been here, 2 years or so, and she says, well, do you have indoor pubbing, Robbie? Do you have indoor pubbing in there? And I'm like, mother, I got like 4 malls within 15 minutes.
And they're nicer than any mall I've ever seen in the United States.
Yeah, total world class.
Yeah,
world class shopping here for sure.
Yeah, but also in my toolbox is a process that known as the mastermind. And I didn't know it was called the mastermind, but I was actually doing this at home with a team of there were anywhere, depending on different years, 4 to 8 men that we'd get together, and we used to once a week make commitments. We would hold each other accountable for the commitments we made the previous week. We talk about our long-term goals, short-term goals, all this stuff, and that is a process here in business I learned is called a mastermind, where you're talking about your business goals. You're actually specifically talking about what you're doing, what you're up to. You make concrete, goals that you can be held accountable for, black and white. That's it. And then you put something on the line. If you don't do it, you have a consequence, right? in our back home we do push-ups a lot or something like that. Here you might put 500 baht, $15 on the line or something like that. And anyway, just being very clear. So once again, you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and you're actually challenging yourself to live at a higher level. Because you're being held to being held to account for what you do.
You are the 4 people that you hang out with, or the group of people that you have in your life are the people that you will become. These guys are in a house with successful people. They're all becoming successful. I mean, these guys are absolutely built. You can see from the outside, I can see them developing. It's very similar to what we do online with the Gorillas Tribe. We've been meeting for the last 2 years now. Every week we meet and that's where he saw the Asmazo software. And basically I teach a class and we talk and, we share stuff, but it's a mastermind. I call it a tribe. This is the same concept, but it's a group of people that all can rely on each other and share information. So I don't care what group it is, but get yourself in a group. Join other people who have like mind. You're hanging out with your friend who loves, he loves getting a fishing boat and he works, 10 hours a day, and on Saturday he gets to go out and do it. He may not understand the opportunity you have in front of you and what you're trying to accomplish, and may discourage you. So don't hang out with those guys. You got to find guys that can inspire you.
You don't necessarily have to come to Chiang Mai to find guys in your life like that.
We all love Chiang Mai, so we tend to kind of talk about it a lot. But sure. I think everything we talk about applies wherever you're at in the country. Right. You can apply, like I said, if you're in North Dakota or Ohio or California, it doesn't matter. Do something, do these points and these tips that will keep you on pace.
And seek out the people. You know, no matter where you are on earth, there are people somewhere in your general vicinity that are also trying to, make something of themselves, that are trying to learn new things, that are trying to, make their lives and other people's lives better. Seek those people out.
Online helps a lot with that.
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely.
You could be shocked. Like I'm telling you, if you find somebody that inspires you, whatever, like I'm telling you, send them a message. Like you will be shocked at the level of people that will return your email or your question or whatever. Like people, I mean, you got to imagine, if you're calling Tim Ferriss, you're probably not going to get an answer. But there are guys that may not, they're doing it. I mean, you send me an email, anybody sends me an email. If you invite me to lunch here, I get more free lunches in Chiang Mai than anybody, because I'll go out to lunch and talk to anybody and try to help anybody, because I know the result is I'm going to make a contact and I'm going to get some good information from them as well.
Yeah, sure. I just had a phone call this morning, believe it or not. A lot of guys reach out to me through my YouTube channel. Or they'll leave a message or a comment or find me on Facebook, whatever. And this guy has been talking to me for a little while, and today he's like, "Hey, can you call me?" I was like, "Yeah, what's your U.S. number?" And I gave him a call, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I quit my job on Friday, and I'm coming out to visit Chiang Mai. I want to see if I want to live here." I was like, "That's fantastic," because this guy, by the way, he saved up money. Was working a corporate job, and he's plateaued. And he's always been seeing himself as an entrepreneur at some point in his life, and he's making the jump. And I'm like, good for you. I encourage anyone to go and seek out something that's calling you from the inside. It's not irresponsible to go and like see what's out there. And at worst, if you come out here for a few months and you fail, you just had a few months where you lived in Thailand and had this amazing experience. Like,
or
that's not a failure.
Colombia or Europe, or you moved to California, whatever it might be. You're right, exactly.
So I'm going to actually meet a guy in a couple weeks, whenever he gets his ticket out here, that I helped make the decision to jump.
Well, how many people? All right, so this is an important part. So we'll get into why Thrifty Steve here, and you can go back to like that's how you got here. But so. Thrifty Steve. So tell us what Thrifty Steve is. And the reason I say that at the same time was I know there's a bunch of guys that have come here. Again, that's not the only guy I know for sure that's come here to follow what you're doing. So tell us what you did and what you've done with the YouTube channel and how that's all started. Nick will love this.
Well, just really simply, I wanted to make a YouTube channel that provided the same kind of information that I found useful before I moved out here. I was always consuming information about cost of living and just what's out here and the lifestyle and everything, but I took it a step further and I said I'm going to actually record my day-to-day expenses, exactly how much money I spend on everything, and make it available. It's available 24/7 on a Google Sheets document that anyone can log on and see, and that was the premise, and it's actually got a lot of attention, both positive and negative. And I think part of the reason why it grew so fast is because it was controversial. I had no idea it would be controversial. I thought I was making boring. In fact, every video I post, I think, oh man, this is kind of boring. But people love to see like the real. Like I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I just make the real experience.
And the value that you're adding as far as giving insight into what it really takes to live here, because there's tons of stuff online about, hey, buy this ebook and then I'm gonna show you how you can retire for $2 a month, and things like that. But you by documenting your experience, that's like real valid insight into what it actually takes to make the jump.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, and it's actually inspired a lot of people to contact me and just ask questions, and I answer everyone that reaches out to me.
I think you're missing probably the whole point. And Nick, you could tell him some numbers, and Nick will tell you whether that's good or bad. But so his first video, okay, is where all the drama's been created. Yeah. But his first video was what?
It was me sitting down and recording myself for 9+ minutes, talking to the camera, no editing whatsoever, and it has like over 20,000 views.
What's the title of the video?
Living in
that's the problem.
Living in Chiang Mai for $300. Thrifty living blog. And so people are thinking that it's first of all, some people think it's impossible. But I actually came here with the goal of living here for $500 a month or less, and I would be able to live for 12 months on $6,000 minus any other like expenses like going back home or whatever, which I budgeted. But the cost of living expenses, I had at $500 a month, and I ended up the first month living for $300, and then the second month living for less than $300, and so it came pretty easily. It wasn't that hard when you lay a good foundation of having inexpensive rent, and you're eating
local food, which is delicious, by the way. Like the Thai food here is amazing, but you're not going out and trying to eat Western food, right? Just keep it simple, and but people think that it's irresponsible for me to portray such a low cost of living. He has trolls.
Oh, I'm sure.
A lot.
The thing is, though, that one of the things that the reason people say that's impossible is because their comfort level just doesn't allow for it. It's definitely not impossible. You're proving in every single video that you upload, every single expense report that you let out, you're proving that it's absolutely 100% possible. It's just their personal stuff of hey, I'm not willing to to eat Thai food, or hey, I'm not willing to
live in an apartment that doesn't have
running water.
Well, oh, come on.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not saying you, but that's what people think. I was at his place when he lived in that place that was what, $100 a month?
$100 a month.
Right. I was in it. I'm telling you, first of all, people are like, well, it's so small and it's this, and I'm thinking,
what do you need?
If you live in New York City, like how big a space are you? If you go to LA to be a starving actor or whatever, it takes sacrifice. But it was clean. The place is well taken care of. It's older. I mean, it was probably built in the 90s or something, but clean and well put together.
I have friends that live in LA where one roommate lives in the bedroom, the other one lives on the couch, and I have several of these friends in a tiny apartment in And they're paying maybe $500 to $800 a month each, and somehow that's understandable. But living by yourself in a nice apartment for $100 in Thailand is crazy.
You would read the comments. I mean, they call him, "You're such a loser. You're a dirtbag. You don't take baths." I mean, they eat him up. But I imagine that these comments and stuff just add to the volume of his
how many engagement.
How many subscribers do you have in the last 7 months? Like, where are you at? I haven't heard for a while.
Well, yeah, I launched in February 1st. I currently have 1,850 subscribers, something like that. I hit 1,000 subscribers 68 days after I launched.
Nice.
Which was pretty quick.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you produced a bunch of videos about living here and your journey, basically.
It started with, my expense reports, but then I wanted to show, what else you can do, like where to eat cheap meals, where to get a cheap apartment, and then show the quality of it. So it's like, hey, here's an apartment for $100. Here's what it looks like. Here's all the amenities. I'm literally showing you, right? So you don't have to wonder. Well, I wonder $100 apartment sounds like crap. Well, guess what? Here, look at it.
Wait, but the $49 one does look like crap.
There's the cheapest apartment I found.
There is a line.
There's a line. Yeah.
Wait. Well, but an 18-year-old kid lives in it, and he didn't. I mean, and I'm not saying it's unacceptable, but like it's definitely rough at 49.
Yeah,
you got to get into the 100 to be something that you'd feel comfortable.
But again, it all comes down on your comfort level too. There's people that live in less.
I would choose to. So the best value apartment I found was $88. And I would choose to live in that over the $45. I would pay twice as much to live in there just because of the amenities. But not everyone's like that. Someone might,
Hey, it depends on where you came from. It was Carl. He was living in his parents' basement. This is way better than living there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I guess the thing is that I think you've told me the next big thing, and maybe Nick can help you with that, is at some point he's going to want to monetize that deal. But I always tell people sometimes it's better to have customers and people to deal with to actually figure out how to make money from it. It's a whole lot harder to have no clients, nobody, anything, and then try to figure out that. But once you have customers or people viewing you, and we're right now.
Yeah, you focus on building the audience, and then once you have the audience,
the money will come.
Then everything
because they
else,
like you,
right?
Or they hate you, and they'll buy. Like I hate. Maybe you should do Thrifty Steve's a liar T-shirts or something.
Or he's a con artist, right?
Oh, they call him a con. They call him everything.
Yeah.
Like they're just. It's. Just
I don't even sell anything.
That's what I was about to say. How can you be a con artist if you're not trying to?
You're irresponsible. You're bringing people there who can't do it. I mean, just horribleness.
Well, I didn't start with a plan to monetize, but I'm not 100% sure. People do ask me from time to time. Nick earlier asked me if I was going to talk about my business on my YouTube channel, and I think I eventually will, just because people are asking about it. And I think it's interesting. The more I get into this, the more I find out it's kind of invasive. Like the more I put myself out there, the more people want to know deeper and deeper stuff. Yeah. And I have a tendency in real life, in person, I'm more of an open book. If people ask me a question, I answer it. So I just have, in a public setting like YouTube, I have to wonder, I have to question how much,
Well, you're going to
how much to reveal.
As soon as you ask or get anything to do with money, you are going to get eat up again.
Yeah,
You are a con artist.
Yeah.
Like making money online is a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like you are a con artist.
Far be it for me to actually, give in to my haters. I don't care what they say. I'm just going to do the content that I want to do.
You keep running at McDonald's on your hamster wheel, and I'll be over here.
Right. And that's another thing to mention too is like with anything that you're doing, because you were mentioning earlier about not hanging out with the particular people that were possibly not into what you're doing or didn't understand with what you're doing. Same thing with doing YouTube. You're going to take adversity no matter which path you decide to take. It doesn't matter if it's friends not understanding. It doesn't matter if it's family not understanding. It doesn't matter if it's trolls on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's you're going to have to face something. So it's important that people arm themselves with a thicker skin to be able to to navigate their way through that as well.
Yeah. I think that it doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is that the fact that what they're saying might scare other commenters away.
Sure.
And I leave most every comment up, no matter how horrible they are to me. But if they get into the realm of threatening, which that's happened, threatening people, it's the stupidest thing. I do delete comments like that.
Sure. Anything like super negative.
There are crazy people out there.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this, because I think we're getting towards the end of what we're talking about. But so I want you to inspire us and help us a little bit, help other people out there. What are you going to define? Are you successful yet in your mind, or what are you going to define as success? What is success to you?
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm really happy with where I'm at in my life. I've had business ventures prior to this, the bar. I actually had a contracting business before that, and those have failed. And this is doing great right now, but I have not achieved what I've set out to achieve yet. So for me, it's about having ultimate freedom, being able to have enough income that I can reliably bring in every month, whether it be ideally mostly passive, that allows me to be able to choose what I do in my life and to provide for my family, and one day start my own family.
Look at that.
Nice.
That's inspirational, isn't it?
Yeah, boom.
So I guess the last question that we kind of usually ask when we talk to people is if someone's sitting in the U.S. or they're sitting in Europe or they're sitting anywhere in the world right now and they're at their house and they're thinking, I really want to do this, what's the one piece of advice that you give those guys that are out there right now that are contemplating doing an online business, doing whatever it might be? What would you tell them to do?
Move out of your country. And even if it's just about starting a business, yeah, you could start a business in your own country, but for me, moving out of the United States and coming to Thailand, we are more free than we realize. And I didn't realize how free I was and how many things were holding me back. Even though I felt like I probably had an easier time than most cutting my ties and moving here because I don't have a wife, I don't have kids. I had enough money to do it, right? Even with all that, it was so incredibly difficult to leave behind things that I believe are my duties and my obligations. But really, you're not running away. You joke about having run away. Your life is still there. You found a unique way to approach it from a different angle. That's what you did.
Optimization of your life.
Yeah. So what it does is moving out of your country gave me, and I'll go as far as say it will give you the perspective to realize that you are freer than you realize and that you have all kinds of opportunities and angles that you don't even know that are available yet. Open up the box. You think of out of the box thinking. You'll start opening the box up and start seeing more opportunities come to you if you jump out and try and start a life somewhere else.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Steve. Thank you, and thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate having you on.
Thank you so much.
So, if people want to find out more about you, Steve, where should they go?
Well, you can go to Thrifty Steve channel on YouTube.
Okay.
That's a great place to start.
Okay, fantastic. Rob?
Great. You can reach me on Facebook at Rob Fortney Jr. You send me a message, I'll answer, or you can look at my YouTube channel at Amazon Gorillas, and we basically feature Amazon businesses on there. So if you're interested in Amazon business, tons and tons of free info there as well.
I'm Nick Nimmin. You can find me on YouTube. You can start there at youtube.com/Nick Nimmin. That's Nimmin. Basically, I help YouTubers grow their channels, make videos, and all types of other YouTube-related stuff, and I can help you wrap up business around your YouTube channel. You've been listening to the Digital Journey Podcast, where we help you navigate your way through your online business voyage. If you're interested in searching for an online business or selling your business, make sure that you check out Empire Flippers at empireflippers.com, and make sure that you check out the Empire Flippers YouTube channel. Just type in Empire Flippers and it will come up there for you. If you're listening to this on iTunes, make sure that you go ahead and you rate the show, and make sure you give us some feedback. Let us know what you're thinking about the show so far. We'd love to hear it.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, besides that, we'll catch you later.
Catch you later. See you later, alligator.
You're listening to the Digital Journey Podcast. The Digital Journey is brought to you by Empire Flippers, the largest marketplace for selling and purchasing online businesses. EmpireFlippers.com.